this gets back to what I was talking about before with ancient builder race stuff, that there are places where there are really robust underground facilities that are now underwater, sometimes under the ocean, and they're still habitable. And so there are extraterrestrial civilizations that go into these ancient builder race facilities, which are very well built. They're wonderful. Oh my gosh, Laura T just donated $200, putting us over the line. Now we're above the $2,000 mark. That is fantastic. Thank you very much, Laura T. I am going to smash the like button on that one if I can. Oh, I'm not allowed to, I guess. No, it doesn't let me do it. She's got 20 likes already. Sunny Skies says Laura Wowie, and Midnight Mark says Laura Wow. That's right. Pyramid means fire in the middle. So we talked about the labyrinth. We talked about that amazing structure, and there was a whole big disclosure show that just came out on Beyond Eyes research. The guy that's doing the tunnels under the pyramid, the research just keeps getting better and better on that one. And remember that with the labyrinth, we've got this huge tic-tac shaped UFO. It's 40 meters wide that was seen on the radar down there, the ground penetrating radar special system that they're using to do that. I mean, this is phenomenal. These things are impacting our reality. Ancient civilizations far more technologically advanced than we thought. The pyramid tunnels alone is such a game-changing development. These huge, huge spiraling tunnels going down into these 2 cubicle rooms underneath the middle pyramid and the 3 pyramids of Giza. It's a big and incredible story. And they look like waveguides to guide the energy of the pyramids for the purpose of healing, for the purpose of initiation. This is all part of what happened. If you can't donate, that's totally fine. I really appreciate you guys being here anyway. Showing up and watching the show is a big part of helping us out and doing great. So anyway, yeah, things are going along really well here, and I'm very happy that you guys have decided to show up today. It makes me very happy that you're here. David, you look tired. Well, I'm not that tired, but I'm a little bit tired. Joe Schmo just donated $5 and says, transform that negative wind into a positive with a small windmill running a Bitcoin miner. You get money out of thin air. How about them apples? LOL. That's funny. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Dorothy Wallstein says, I believe this is true with your undersea stations. A German ambassador of the Federation has a chapter about it in his book. Truth Students video says, thank you, David. I love your show every week. Yeah, well, I'm glad to be doing it, and I'm glad to be here. This is definitely everything we've been working on for so long is coming true. Yeshua donated again, says, how is any amount of disclosure going to help bring us the kingdom of heaven if we continue to have to work 40 to 70 hour a week at jobs that don't create environments of health and peace? Well, that's a good question. I think that in the future we will have a different life, but sometimes, depending on where you're at, I mean, my friend Jude, he works all the time. He works many, many hours, but he's very happy. So my goal would be to try to get your work in alignment with what you really love to do, and so that those things happen. That's why it's important I show up here for my show. Your donations and the ad revenue that I get from being on YouTube are what is driving the train right now as I await bigger deals coming in from my company. And we had Cosmic Coders donate 20 pounds. He says, hi, David, longtime admirer here. I'm glad you're still sane and alive. Keep it up. Greetings from Slovenia. And he highlighted love in the middle. Sabrina also just donated. There's another one, $20. These nasty people who have ugly words are low-frequency parasites. They can close the show. You bless us with each and every show. I love you. Thank you, Sabrina. That's great. So, the pyramid tunnel thing is so amazing when you find out what's down there and how big it is. There's no way that a primitive society could have done that. It should exhaust any skepticism about what really happened. Same thing with the labyrinth. They've got, again, ground-penetrating radar that shows you this massive, massive complex. We talked about that. Strabo talked about it, and Heraclitus, I believe, was another one. A bunch of these guys from, ancient Greek mythological people. They all, not just mythological, but Greek writers, they all talked about this ad nauseum. And it was something that clearly was a very exciting thing to go see. Ghost of Adi, that's right. Thank you very much. Ross Feinstein said, speaking of which, I invested in and joined a new company with an amazing product. Co-founder investor started writing a book akin to Awakening the Dream. Thank you, Ross. And Tomb of Osiris, underneath the Sphinx, entrance between the front paws. Right. I mean, it all ties back in with the Edgar Cayce prophecies about the end of the age and all that stuff, the Hall of Records. It's very exciting how all these things are culminating and coming into fruition right now. I couldn't be more pleased. I mean, it's just such an exciting time to be alive. And now you got Congressman Tim Burchett doing a 15-minute sit-down. He's locked it in, talking about these underground bases, government cover-ups, football field craft, zipping 200 miles an hour speeds under the ocean, non-human intel confirmed by Navy brass, which could spark full disclosure. He promised transparency. Will this meeting finally make him sign the executive order to blow the lid off of this UFO presence on Earth? Yes or no? Well, hopefully it will happen. This was another one that came out this past week. Brand new type of disclosure I'd never seen before, which definitely, again, borders on the fear stuff, but let's go in there anyway. This guy is describing a hyper-realistic mask. Trudy Handelman donated $10. Thank you very much. There it is right there. Yep. And somebody just said, Cameron Clapp, there's also artifacts exhibiting functional technology over 8,000 plus years old, creating recorded history. Pterodactyls on pyramid walls, they are the Thunderbirds. I agree completely. Pterodactyls traveling through time would be what that is. Yep, like the Egyptian Bennu bird. So, dude, it's just so exciting. I mean, there's so much stuff going on right now that has me just thrilled to be alive. And at the same time, you know, this was a really strange one. This one just kind of popped up at random, that apparently masked for a reptilian to look like a normal human being. U.S. Army veteran Patrick Riley alleges on a military mission he discovered a sophisticated face mask believed to be non-human technology. Okay, check this out. With eyes built directly into its structure. What he actually says is that that the front of it looked human. It was very realistic. It actually even had the right temperature for skin, but that the back of it had scales and it was meant to fit over a reptilian face. So this is something that a reptilian being could put on to look human. So feel free to panic at your leisure, okay? But again, I encourage you not to give in to the fear, because they don't, you know, the people who are doing these disclosures are not interested in letting you know that there are also good ETs out there. But that's why I keep promoting this, that world religions are founded by these beings and that we've had so much come our way that's so positive. Kringle Chris says, hold on, be in the light of love. So yes, I encourage you not to give in to the fear. And part of the reason why is that the DNA of the universe itself reveals the power of the positive. And that's the title of today's show. So again, if you are getting bombarded with all this fear, it's a really good time to remember that there is sort of like a universal quantum signature for the positive that's built in. And, oh, David, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, this is scientific data that can't be disputed. I mean, it's already been proven, and it's a very, very significant part of our platform. I've talked about it many times before. I just love reading you guys' comments, so I don't want to stay too far away from that. But I also got to give the other cameras some love, too. You know? So, again, the power of the positive is written right into quantum fields themselves, I believe, because we live in a conscious, loving universe. The universe is ultimately made of consciousness, and all the top esoteric sources that I look at say that it is a one infinite creator. It's a loving, intelligent cosmos in which negativity is allowed to exist. So yes, the negative is allowed to exist, and it does inspire us to move and grow. So the Law of One makes a big teaching about this, that in the early days of the universe, there was no negativity, there was only positivity. And the problem was everybody got really lazy. They sat around, they did nothing, they didn't want to grow, they didn't want to expand, they didn't want to explore new realms, they didn't want to build any art or create anything. Everybody was just blissed out. It was only once the Creator had a veil put up, and these are now in human worlds, so you have galaxies with stars in them, stars that have planets around them, the planets have humans on them. 40% of the galaxies in the universe, according to the Law of One, have humans on their planets, human-like beings. It's a very popular design. That's why they want to make AI robots that way too. The robot human is able to go around and build things and do things and get things done. Yeah, because the human design is very useful for getting things done. But there was no veil in the beginning of the universe. This is an important point. So Jim Garrigus donated 249 Mexican pesos, which hopefully is a lot. Just teasing. I'm sorry. He's one of our moderators. Thank you very much. Wonderful, wonderful. Gracias por el donación. Coping with negativity is like spiritual weightlifting, says Paul Cannon. I can't stay away from you guys. I got to hear what you have to say. Oh, okay. There was a child with a near-death experience who was taken to Jesus. This is Music 17. Showed him a vision of the time this December 20th through 22nd, 2025. Harvest 12:23. If you feel the light of God or Jesus, acknowledge and accept it too. Well, that's not very far away. Somebody says they missed the sword. Well, the sword actually fell over and nearly smashed my lovely little UFO lights here. They got hit by that, and it created a big mess. And so I'd have to affix it to the wall. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll get it back up at some point. But anyway, negativity is allowed to exist, you guys. That's a very basic part of the universe that when the veil was created, when the veiling occurred, it actually made people more positive. They actually had more of a desire to be positive because now there's something to push against. So if you don't have any stress in your life, if there's nothing that hurts you, there's nothing that upsets you, then, no big deal. But remember the story of the Buddha, too. What happened to the Buddha? Buddha is an example where he was in a royal palace. He grew up there most of his life, and he never left. And he only had opulence and wonderful food and beautiful riches and gold and silks and tapestries and beautiful women, people that helped him with everything he needed. He never had to worry about anything. There was no fear. There was no concern. Finally, the Buddha goes outside and he sees people suffering and starving on the street. And it gave him this big epiphany about dukkha and the duality of the physical realm. And he ended up leaving the palace and going out there, renouncing all of his possessions and just living with nothing but a robe and a begging bowl. And with that begging bowl, he began doing spiritual teachings where people would give him donations, which is what we're doing here. So, this is a very Buddhist type of thing that I'm doing here in a sense. And so that's a good thing. Oh, Sunny Sky says, if I was Buddha, I would have just stayed at the palace. But the point is, seeing the suffering inspired him to want to get out into the world and actually make change happen, to want to see people, be treated better and see, suffering be alleviated. Let's make sure I didn't miss anybody's donations. No, we're good. So it sounds like the story of 47. Well, it could be, yeah. I mean, he gave up everything, right? It's a very interesting point. He didn't have to do this. And people love to troll him and heckle him. But yeah, like, wow, the amount of stuff that he gave up to go in and become part of that mission, is very intense. Beverly Adams said, I loved the UFO model in the background of your Clifford Bahuti interview many years ago. They knew. Thank you. So yeah, everyone dies, but not everyone truly lives, says Steve Smith. Put a tent over your bed and put blankets over the top. Surprising how warm it will stay in there. I don't know if I could really do that. I don't really have the right equipment, but yeah, that's an interesting thing. I wish I could get relief from stress and burnout, says American Eagle Rises. Well, we want you to feel that way too. And again, thank you guys so much for your donations. You've really made today a great show. We're over 3,000 viewers now, which is, not the best we've ever had, but it's the holidays and people are busy, and I get that. So again, the law of one principle about how the universe got started is very important. This idea that there was a veil between the conscious and subconscious mind that was created by the early universal creator in one of the galaxies. And all of a sudden, after that was done, negativity was allowed to exist. Suddenly, human beings began focusing much more on the power of the positive. And they started to take the ball and run with it and go much farther than they had before. And so that's really, really cool when you start to see how this actually works. So negativity is allowed to exist, and it inspires, as it says in the Law of One, movement and growth. The movement and growth that is created is because you're disrupting the free will. So as our free will is disrupted, again, I've had these very intense windstorms, but it's not windy right now. I was blessed enough, lucky enough to be able to be here with you today. We're having a beautiful show today. And if you focus on the positive, the mechanism of the universe is designed, it's built actually that way to help you focus on that and favor it. The universe is built to favor the positive. We had another donation come in. Real JB donated $2. Thank you very much for that. Everything helps. 3,000 is a lot of people, says Lexi Abbey. Yes, it is. I mean, look, to stand in front of an audience of what's now 3,076 people, I mean, that's a stunning event, you know, to really be in front of a crowd like that is wonderful. I got to just imagine and remember in my mind what that really looks like, because it's pretty awesome. And we're over 12,500. We got over 12,500 views right now. David, what do you know about blue plasma UFOs? I filmed many of them in Germany. The blue color is similar to Messier 45s. There's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, it's anybody's guess as to what a different type of UFO would be. I can't say that just because something has blue plasma that it would be a certain thing, but we're definitely not alone. And again, the message from the revealed teachings, like the Law of One, would say that most of the ETs out there are positive. The insiders I've spoken to confirm that most of the ETs are positive. So I don't want to see us get hoodwinked into thinking that it's this evil alien invasion and everything about it is evil and they have evil AI and so AI is evil. I mean, yeah, AI we should be really careful about. But like at the same time, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater either. I'm not going to be like a Puritan who says we should never ever use it. Although there are movies, right, where of course society does give up on AI completely and you're not allowed, it's all banned technology, you're not allowed to have any of that stuff. So, you know, who knows? But anyway. Even negativity is necessary to enjoy positivity. Wayne Dyer spoke about this in his Conversation with God trilogy, calling it divine dichotomy, says Frequency 963. Conversation with God, as far as I know, was done by Neil Donald Walsh, but Wayne Dyer wrote some great stuff too. Anyway, I'm glad that you guys are here. It's really great to have such a big crowd. It's very humbling actually to know that you guys have showed up today to support me. And so again, I want to thank you and just say how much I appreciate you and that you're here with us today, because it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to focus on the power of positivity. And I'm very encouraged that, you know, we can look at all these things and see, yes, the universe is built to favor the positive. So we got to start with the pain points. That's why I opened it up with all this stuff about World War III and the economy sucks and wars that won't end and they're not, you know, going away. But is it really all that bad? No. What's happening is ultimately very positive. What's happening is transformative. We're getting transformative change in the universe and here on Earth as well. And it's a very exciting time for us all to be alive. The universe is built to favor the positive. And as I was saying, this can be scientifically measured and proven. So let's just remind ourselves of some basic fundamentals here, like the meditation effect, which has been extensively replicated. And so John Hagelin, who was in The Secret, that movie, and, he was in What the Bleep Do We Know, I believe, too. Maybe he was. I forget which one. I think this was from The Secret. But anyway, Dr. John Hagelin is one of the people, you can see here, he's a professor of physics, director of the Institute of Science, Technology, and Public Policy at Maharishi University. And so this, again, was also called the Maharishi effect, but I decided let's just call it the meditation effect so that it's not so, you know, tethered to that one particular thing that people are going to go, oh, Maharishi, what do you mean? Well, no, it's very interesting because they were doing these transcendental meditation practices that focused on the idea of invoking a pure consciousness similar to what St. John of the Cross was talking about. That's why I was shocked that today is his day, because here we are talking about the meditation effect, and St. John of the Cross was all into that with the pure consciousness thing. Jackie Baby just donated. There we go. Enjoying the information today while decorating for my family coming home this year. Silver is moving up, so I'm happy. Well, I'm happy for you, Jackie. And again, thanks for donating. That's really awesome. Dr. Joe Dispenza released a brand new study on the effects of meditation on the human body. David, you have to check it out. It's mind-blowing, says Fairy Girl. Great, thank you. Yes, hit the like button. Anybody who wants to do that, that definitely is another way that you can help us. So we love the like button, absolutely. So again, here's what they found, okay? And this is very, very interesting. During a 6-month period from November 13th, 1983 to May 18th, 1984, a measure of war intensity in Lebanon was most positive during 3 assemblies in which the number of TM city participants, this is their program that they were running, exceeded the predicted thresholds required for an influence on the war, which was square root of 1%, or about, when it's for the world, it's like 7,000 people. In this case, I think it was like 2,000 to 3,000, based on the size of the war. Time series analysis indicates significantly greater progress towards peaceful resolution of the conflict during these assemblies than would have been predicted from the prior history of the Lebanon War, with a p-score of 0.00005. That's incredible. The particularly large effect coincident with the Lebanon Assembly held in the immediate vicinity of the conflict suggests the importance of proximity in the generation of societal coherence. So what you're seeing is the War Peace Index, in other words, how much peace was there. It surges during the periods of their 3 assemblies, Taste of Utopia, Lebanon, and Yugoslavia. And so the Lebanon War actually ramped down during this time, and it actually leads to a 72% reduction. The best effects they found were at that high of a level, which is, to me, just absolutely mind-blowing. So Transcendental Meditation, again, is teaching a non-denominational, standardized type of meditation. Everybody practices it the same way. Everybody learns the same technique. It's all being taught through a unified program, which gives us a scientifically replicable phenomenon. Groups of 7,000 people trained in these techniques got together for weeks of time where they would meditate for long periods. And during those weeks, this is what John Hagelin was saying, global crime and terrorism reduced by 72% compared to other weeks. And this is something I talk about extensively in my book, The Source Field Investigations, which is my magnum opus. It's still available. You can buy that. It's going to be in paperback, or you could find used copies of it as well. David, have you really read the Bible? Joshua says, yes, I have. All these ETs and UAPs you're talking about are in the Bible. I'm not surprised. Jesus said they will come again as in the days of Noah. Yeah, we actually had that quote in the last show, so we definitely talked about that. Joe Schmo says, evil performs its function by inspiring good people to stand up and lead and fight. You're absolutely right there. They say short meditations are as good or better than long ones. That can be true. The important point is that you're participating. So, again, where I look at this is it's not like you have to do transcendental meditation. It's not like I'm trying to do a commercial for transcendental meditation. But what I am saying is that these techniques actually get results. They actually work. And the simple fact that we're seeing a 72% reduction, it isn't always that high, but that's the highest effect, and it's been replicated dozens of times. And they ruled out everything else. Let's talk about that for a second. Global crime and terrorism in some cases reduced by 72%. There's fewer fatalities. There's fewer acts of domestic violence. So how do you explain somebody not picking up a gun, not shooting someone? How do you control somebody's free will by being in this state of what they're trying to get you to, which is pure consciousness? That means you're loving and positive. It's all about the power of the positive. It's all about being in this very, very happy, blissed out, peaceful state. You're not focusing on the negative. And then the free will of others around you is changing. So like, for example, let's say that I'm meditating and I'm not letting myself go into a place of fear during the middle of these blackouts that were happening, right? What's going to happen is that I'm sending peaceful energy out into the universe. It's going to calm everybody else down around me to varying degrees. The more of us are doing this, the easier it's going to happen, and it will support and aid the people that are working on the power lines, the linesmen, so they can fix it faster. They don't have the stress as much. They can handle the wind better. They're happier. They're more positive. Positive energy radiates out. That's why you're never going to hear about this meditation effect too much. It's something that the old guard does not want you to know about. They don't want you to know how much power our thoughts really have. That is the greatest secret that any negative group has to hide from us, is the power of our own thoughts and what we have to do. Yes, any moderator needs to take a lunch break. By all means, go ahead. So, yeah, to think about this from a pragmatic perspective, you really want to understand just how deeply the universe is built to favor the positive. I mean, this doesn't happen with the negative. It's not like more people feeling fear are going to create a disproportionate effect of 7,000 people like this. But 7,000 people feeling positive actually does have an effect. So this is a big, big law of one principle. The law of one principle talks about the law of squares. And you could also call that the law of exponents. What is the law of squares actually saying? It's saying that each additional seeking of love in the moment, each additional person seeking love in the moment, which is the seeking the positive, creates an exponential increase in the power that is called upon and the power that the higher forces can deliver to us. That's incredible. There's an exponential increase per person as it goes up, and that to me explains why this meditation effect actually works. And it has been replicated in dozens of different studies. They believe that the square root of 1% of the population was believed to be essential. So that's like 7,000 people. Well, we've already had over 13,000 views altogether, as I can see that right now. And so we're creating the coherence as we're working together on this. They ruled out weekends, weather, holidays, and all other statistical phenomena that could have closed this off. And so isn't that amazing? Just when you start to think about the long-term ramifications of what this really means, when you double-click on it and you're like, dang, I mean, wow. People getting together and meditating, they don't have any tools, they don't have any technology, they're not spending any money, it doesn't cost anything. Do you have to practice transcendental meditation? No, I don't think so. Other studies have done this with other types of meditation, and it still works. And I believe that the main thing, again, is being peaceful and engaging the power of the positive. So think about what that means in your own life, that people living around you. We'll talk about that in a minute, the Institute of Heart Math, and what they found about that the people with the most coherent heart rate, brainwave activity, that actually influences the people who live next to you. So if you live in an apartment building, for example, people living next to you, if you're the one that's meditating, you're going to calm them down. And so it doesn't just require 7,000 people. It'll happen on a smaller level. You are actively generating power. You are actively generating energy. That positivity is going out into the world, and it's actually making a difference. So please never feel like you're helpless. Never feel like when we look at these scary headlines, as I described to you earlier, that, oh, well, there's nothing I can do. What could I do? I'm just one person. Yeah, there was a thing in the Edgar Cayce readings where they said that the 45 people could have stopped World War II. And they had 45 people in the room. The people in the room didn't really get it. But if enough people meditate and they focus on the positive, there are Tibetan monks, that's all they do. They meditate for world peace, and they know that it works. That's what St. John of the Cross was about. A single moment of pure consciousness is worth more to the Creator than all other good works you could ever do. So I want that to stick with you. I want this teaching to stay with you in your mind and in your heart and in your soul. I want you to remember what I'm saying, because this is actually a very intrinsic principle that can get you so far when you start to see that it's scientifically based. It doesn't matter that I'm the one that's telling you this. It could be somebody else. It doesn't have to be me. I'm the one telling you something that is very interesting. So let's talk a little bit more about the event in 1993. This was published in 1997 in Harvard Press, no less. And you can see the link right here. And they call it the Maharishi effect in this case. It's fundamentally a phenomenon of radiation of evolutionary influence arising from the enlivenment of pure consciousness, the unified field of natural law. Again, pure consciousness is fundamentally a positive, loving, blissful state that you get into in meditation, and you sustain it for a long period of time. Oh, I felt it. There it was. I could feel that there was a donation. I actually could feel it right there. Lisa Dawn Marble donated $10, and she says, David, you're sharing and describing your personal day-to-day crises and how you handle them is my favorite thing that you talk about in your shows. Well, great. I'm glad that happened. And KWP444 also donated. I missed that one. Do you prefer passive meditation or visualization? I tend to do the passive meditation more, but I've also done visualizations as well. Like putting these shows together is very much a visualization meditation. Joe Schmo says, ads stink, but David is one of the very few streamers who doesn't do pre-roll or mid-roll ads, which drives me nuts. I donate if I like you, but I don't need a new body wash or whatever. Well, it would be nice if I could do pre-roll or mid-roll ads, but I just haven't had the right, competitive offer. And so, yeah, I mean, it's essentially commercial free, but thank you. And again, if you go into YouTube Premium, then you don't have to watch any ads at all, which might be a good thing to look at. Half of the viewers have hit the like button. Come on, other half. It helps just as much as donations. Always hit the like button. Let's see if anybody wants to do that now. What are we up to on likes? 1,700 likes. Okay, so yeah, hit the like button if you haven't already done so. Let's see that number suddenly rise. That would be great. 1701. Only one person has listened to me so far. But that's great. I'm just joking. Anyway, your intuitive consciousness will speak through you. 31. We got 31 more likes there. It's starting to happen. See, I'm an influencer. I can get people to do what I think is the right thing, and by God, it happens. All right. So you need Shiva shampoo, says Whipsaw. I always listen to you, LOL, says Bobby Thoma. No matter what, let's all be positive, says SC400 Pilot. Use your guitar and stand for the sword, says Meow Cat Cat. My eyes get all itchy and my skin crawls when I'm out in front of large groups of people. I'll let you read the rest there. This is very important what David is saying. We can end all wars with a collective force field of energy. You're absolutely right. I don't know what Shiva shampoo is. Good question, Midnight Mark. 1.8K, keep it rising. Let's see, what are we up to? Total number of donations right now is 2,200. So yeah, if we can get just a couple $100 more, we'll match what we did last week, which would be great. So whatever happened to arrests, believe me, I do not think that that's not going to happen. It's all building up to something, and these things that I'm showing you are building up to the scare events that we were told would happen. So I think there is going to be, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, but I don't believe it's just going to go on ad infinitum. Now, it would have been nice if it all got wrapped up with a bow tie in 2025, which I was hoping would happen. It would have been great for me and for my schedule at least. And it would look like the Michael prophecies was saying that. But this year is so big of a pivotal change that I think that the events that we were told to anticipate are already all visible and they're on their way. Disclosure is happening. The defeat of negativity, the exposure of it is happening. It's all taking place in a very, very interesting way. So thank you guys very much. Okay, well, somebody says that it says 1.9. Well, that's not what I'm seeing. But anyway, that's great. Or maybe 1.9 is the part, it's my cut. Anyway, that's cool too. Shiva shampoo, the destroyer of dandruff, says Joe Schmo. That's really funny. Okay. Thank you guys so much for your help over there. And I'll keep checking in with you. So again, the phenomenon of radiation of evolutionary influence arising from the enlivenment of pure consciousness, the unified field of natural law. This perspective is corroborated by 43, by 1997, that's what they were up to, 43 published or presented papers reporting on the results of this effect and their interventions worldwide at city, national, international, and global scales. Present-day standard model physics and physiology do not account for the outcomes of the research on this effect. And then this is, again, from their own college, but it's a very interesting scientific paper. It has become possible to lodge a prediction in advance with the police and the mayor of a city and then create this meditation effect. This was put to the test under the careful scrutiny of a distinguished review board in 1993 in Washington, D.C. The maximum decrease in violent crimes, and again, this was highly statistically studied, was 23.3%. So that's not 72%, but it's still freaking amazing, right? Because it's so far beyond chance. And I'll take 25%. That's a hell of a lot better than nothing. The statistical probability that this result could reflect a chance variation in crime levels was less than 2 in 1 billion, or a p-score of 0.000000002. That is phenomenal. Just absolutely phenomenal. So think about what that really means. Think about the implications of this meditation effect. and how much it changes the fundamental nature of what's happening when you're feeling positive. What's happening when you're engaging the power of the positive in your own mind? Is it really, just an act of futility? No. Again, this is scientific data. It's nothing that, can be disputed. It's been proven. It's less than 2 in 1 billion chance that this could have happened. So, and best of all, this is not a new spiritual insight. This is something that's been going on for a really long time, and we look no farther than the opening words of Buddha's Book of Righteousness, the so-called Dhammapada. Buddha's opening words in the Dhammapada. We'll use the Shambhala Press Thomas Byram translation, which some people don't like. When I researched this again, I was like, oh, okay, there's people out there that want to hate on Thomas Byram. Okay, that's fine, whatever. But this is what the book looks like, Shambhala Pocket Classics. This is the one I had in college. This was one of the books that I was reading when I was a junior in college, and I started to get into advanced, study of religions and just reading all these different things. I read Hindu stuff, I read Buddhist stuff, Zoroastrian stuff, and I learned a lot. And you find out that, there are certain commonalities in the messages that everybody's sharing. And it's pretty interesting. So the Dhammapada is a nice pocket-sized book. It's not very big, and it has a lot of stuff that happened that's, really good wisdom that he dropped as a result of his enlightenment. So here we go. Let's check this out. This is, again, the Thomas Byram translation. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we create the world. So let's just stop right there. I mean, now again, we'll give you an alternate translation. Somebody says, well, okay. But this is the basic gist of the philosophy, that our thoughts create reality. And that's such an intrinsic thing that now that we've looked at the meditation effect, it's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? And my mother was quoting from this very Buddhist scripture to me as I was going through the blackout and having no power, and I'm trapped at home alone, and it's getting colder and colder and colder, and it doesn't feel very positive. You're like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to live? Is this going to be okay? Am I going to survive? Holy crap. Scary as hell, With our thoughts, we create the world. Think or act with an impure mind, and trouble will follow you, as the wheel follows the ox that draws the cart. So you could say, okay, well, what do you mean by impure mind? Well, impure mind is when you allow the negative to encroach, when you start believing in the negative. You don't understand that the universe's DNA is spring-loaded to create positivity. That's where the trouble will follow you, like the wheel following the ox drawing the cart. I got to hear what you guys think about this. I've been reading this for a while. So Vega says manifest positivity. Gabriel Myers says, how do I donate? Well, you could either do it with the links they post, or you could, do the super chat. It's like the law of assumption, says Fairy Girl. Crisis prevention meditation AP. I bet we could get way more than 7,000 to download. Oh, an app. With X, most learn big news fast. We jump on the app and save the day. Midnight Mark just posted a link for that. Thank you very much, Mark. Let's see what else we got here. I had an out-of-body experience as eternal youth, not meaning to, but when it was happening, I welcomed it. It was my first ever one. It felt so freeing. Oh, come on. Somebody's trying to heckle me about raising money. Well, I have to raise money. It's part of living. It's just like Buddha with the bowl. The bowl is there. That's part of what he did. So anyway, thank you, Mark. Each one of us living the change is the power that changes. They have thermal sleeping bags. Get the ones with the lowest temperature. I did well. I did well, and I got into bed, and I had my clothes on and made it work for me. In fact, I was too hot last night. I really didn't sleep very well last night because I was still using too much of the padding, 2 comforters, and you gotta be able to moderate night by night, figure out how it all works. Even with all we see and know, we are barely cutting into the edge of all there is to be learned in the spirit, says SC400 Pilot. Those who have issues about donations should check their own money issues, says Fairy Girl. I agree. Tetragrammaton says, that's what the narrator used to say at the beginning of a TV series called Monkey. Tathagata Buddha, the Father said, with our thoughts we create the world. Please don't compare yourself with Buddha begging on the street. Why not? You know, I mean, it's like these are metaphors. These religious leaders were here to give us metaphors that we can use for our own lives. Jesus again, John 14:12, as I do these things, so shall you do them, and greater things, for I go unto my Father, Mother, God. The Christ is a pattern that we're supposed to follow. Buddha created an archetype. It's the hero's journey. The hero's journey archetype. That's where we're going to with all this. Okay, so think or act with an impure mind, focusing on the negative, not believing in the power of the positive. Trouble will follow you as the wheel follows the ox that draws the cart. So you'll always be dragging that around. Whereas, by focusing on the positive, you actually learn how to engage the thought process of the universe. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we create the world. There's such wisdom in there, especially when you realize it has a scientific backing to it. You could go all day with this. It's like, wow, man, this is just incredible. Very, very powerful teaching. Then he says it again. Sometimes in spiritual teachings you get interesting repetitions, and this is an example. So once again, he says, we are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we create the world. Now he does the opposite. He says, think or act not with an impure, but think or act with a pure mind, and happiness will follow you as if it was your shadow, unshakable. There you go. I mean, you may not always be happy. I certainly wasn't happy in the middle of the blackout. But the point is, hey, maybe my own focus on the positive, the power of the positive, maybe that was actually making these linesmen get the job done faster. Maybe that was actually protecting me against as many trees falling and causing as many outages. Who knows? So this is a very beautiful piece of religious teaching coming from one of the great masters of human life on earth. And I love it. Now, some disagreed with his translation. So I found out that's the whole big thing online now. There's an alternate version of it from Acharya Buddharakita. Acharya Buddharakita from 1996. So this is something that, you know, instead of we are what we think, we are what we think, all that is arises from our thoughts, with our thoughts we create the world. Here's an alternative version. So we can appease those Buddhist purists who say, oh my God, you can't say it that way. The Thomas Byram translation, yeah. Okay, fine. Here's what they're more happy with. And let's see, who donated here? We had Viv Republic. Thank you, David, for all your teachings over the years, and blessings to all. Thank you very much as a $5 donation. Really appreciate that. Thoughts are the only energy that lasts forever, says Paraglider Life. All your thoughts have to be understood before they become energy the universe can use. This is great. Okay. And Fairy Girl says, listening to this is really uplifting. It should be. I mean, I told you I was going to deliver the goods, man, because again, when you get into the scientific proof, when you get into scientific validation of what we're really talking about here, it's no longer in the realm of, oh, David is a con artist, he's a huckster, he's a charlatan. We know all that. We know that there's all these people that say that. That's just something that always is out there. But I want you to be able to make up your own mind. These are the words of the great teacher Buddha. He says, all that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. Or, here's another version of it. Okay, if you're a purist, you don't like that version. Mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. They are all brought about by the mind. So I guess the distinction was they said it's less personal, that Buddha wouldn't have actually put the person in there. I don't know, whatever. But it still basically says the same thing, doesn't it? Mind precedes all mental states. It all comes from mind. Mind is their chief. Everything is made by the mind. The universe, all that we are, arises with our thoughts. I think Byram's translation is fine. I don't know why everybody's so upset about this, but when I went online, I'm like, whoa, there's like a serious debate about this. And we have, oh, by the way, Nan Combs donated $20. Thank you very much. And that's right here. Thank you, David, for these Sunday shows. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us and love that it always resonates with me. You are such a beacon of light. It's great to see you here almost every weekend. Thank you. 2,000 likes, 900 more peeps. Hit that like button. Let's see what we're up to on the like button here. 2011. Okay, that's not bad. We definitely got it up, but we can keep moving it up even higher. So thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it. We're still $2,200 in donations, which is very good. If we could get a little bit more, get up to $2,400, then we'd match what we did last time, which would be great. So, but Nan Combs just donated, so thank you very much, and maybe we'll have a few more show up. Amen, David. I'm very speculative. Anyone who opens in honesty and humility cannot be called a hustler or a false narrative. Exactly. I'm just trying to give you guys stuff that is, you can read it yourself, you can learn about it yourself, you can educate yourself that this is what this great teacher said. So let's go back to the slide now. Mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. They are all mind wrought. If with an impure mind a person speaks or acts, then suffering follows him like the wheel that follows the foot of the ox. Okay, so it's only the first two sentences that really sound any different, and wow. Somebody just donated exactly as I was hoping they would. That's really wonderful. $100, which comes in as bright fire engine red. And that is Sonia Hinojo. She says, your words came exactly when I needed them the most. I am deeply grateful to you. Thank you very much, Sonia. You are helping us out tremendously, and I really appreciate that. It's wonderful that we have such support from our audience, and you guys are really amazing that you're willing to do this for me. Read David's book, Synchronicity Key, Source Field Investigations, and the Law of One series. This is Carolina Patriot. Yep, those are all very helpful. I often cannot sleep because I yearn to be cuddled by a mutual love and soulmate. It's a good thing I have puppies to keep me warm at night. Kiki 2.0. Thank you. Yep, I know the feeling. I do know the feeling, believe me. But I don't even have the dogs. So, again, this sounds pretty much the same. Mind is the chief of all states. It's all mind wrought. With our thoughts, we make the world. Okay. And then, mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. They are all mind wrought. If with a pure mind a person speaks or acts, happiness follows him like his never departing shadow. Okay, sounds about the same. Let's read a little bit more. He abused me. He struck me. He overpowered me. He robbed me. Well, a lot of us are feeling that way about all different kinds of things going on in the world right now. Those who harbor such thoughts do not still their hatred. He abused me. He struck me. He overpowered me. He robbed me. Those who do not harbor such thoughts still their hatred. There you go. I mean, it's so simple. Like Buddha is like almost like a mathematics equation, right? Like the Buddha's teaching. And again, it's not that these things didn't happen to you. Maybe you have been robbed. Maybe you have been abused or struck or overpowered. It's harboring. It's when you dwell on the negativity, you're not focusing on the thought creative power of the universe, the power of the positive. That's where when you harbor those thoughts, when you dwell in those thoughts, then your hatred goes away. And you go back to this relaxed state. I actually stuttered there. That usually doesn't happen, right? You guys hardly ever catch me stuttering, but I did there. Anyway, it happens once in a while. Thank you very much, Sunny Skies, for the moderation. And Midnight Mark is going to take a pee break, but other people will be there to moderate in his wake. So thank you very much. Cajun says, I think all religions are true. Collectively, they strive to be a good human, be good, do good, strive for... Yeah, and I think the Buddha stuff, I think, again, there's all kinds of non-human intelligence around whatever happened to him too. All of them were like that, especially Padmasambhava, the second Buddha. He had 6 fingers. He's the lotus-born. Padmasambhava means lotus-born. He came out of something that opened up. He had 6 fingers. He was apparently bald. He painted on eyebrows. Definitely not a normal human, and he was levitating, and he did the rainbow body teachings. 160,000 people attain rainbow body thanks to Padmasambhava, a 6-fingered being who didn't seem to have normal hair at all and came out of a lotus that landed here. Yeah, so let's not get corralled into this idea that all ETs are bad and they're all aliens and they're all trying to invade and there's this evil and oh my God, if they show up, it's going to be worse than the events of 2001. I just don't buy it, man. I really don't. Heinrich Johansson says, Merry Christmas and a happy No Fear New Year. Donated 1,111 ISKs, giving him a light turquoise color. which I guess is what, in the $30, $40 range, something like that. Anyway, thank you very much. And I really appreciate that, Heinrich. So yeah, we're up to $2,300 total revenue. That's great. So keep it coming. We're getting close to our goal. Do the Vipassana teachings have anything to do with this? Of course they do. This is all interrelated. These teachings are part of the universal download. There's a store of wisdom in the universe that's available to everybody. And Valerianne Grito, David, the negative has hit me hard this week. Perfect show. Have you received my email of Koa's lament? I'd love to get it out. It's the timing, right? All I need to hear is that Christ is King. Wish I could donate more. Well, thank you very much. Send that email again if you don't mind. You can go to Divine Cosmos and then .com, and there's a way to do that there that will get to me. Any thoughts on Jesus' actual birthday? That's kind of off topic, but let's just focus on Christmas right now. Somebody says Lou does not resonate, never has. Well, I'm not going to pass judgment on him. He's done a lot of good stuff for humanity, but we just don't want this to turn out in a negative direction. We want to be as positive as possible. All the things I've been through lately, these past 2 weeks, all the wind, it's really made me feel like, okay, I need to do a show where we really hone in on this stuff. So I could be dwelling on the negative. I could have just said, my God, the wind abused me, it struck me, robbed me of power, but then I would be in hatred and I wouldn't have been here with you guys. We wouldn't have had this great opportunity today to talk. But instead, here I am. Hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This is a law, eternal. I love that, right? I mean, it's so simple and beautiful, but yet very profound. And it's the same message of Jesus, right? I mean, you go right into the Dhammapada, you open it up, you begin at the beginning, and it says, love thine enemies. Okay. Forgiveness. Okay. That's what the Law of One was talking about. The positive beings want you to learn this because it's the universal software. That's why the meditation effect works. That's why 7,000 people meditating created a 72% reduction in global crime and terrorism and fatalities. Because again, these principles really work. So yes, I've shared the meditation effect data before, but there's certain pieces of information that are like colors that you want to paint with. And if you paint with these colors and you use them in your art and you bring them up and you talk about them, it's like, dang, this is something we can never stop hearing about. This is something we can never stop being reminded of. The importance of positive thinking, the importance of focusing on being in the now, having that present-centered awareness, getting that consciousness download from the positive, from the power of positivity. It's so important. Laura says, David, you give so much knowledge and entertainment for free. It's wild. I feel I get so much from your sessions for years now. I'm glad I can afford a little donation once in a while. Profound thanks. Well, thank you, Laura. We really appreciate your help. And let's see. Somebody wants me to stop. That was a moderated thing. Stop reading the comments. No, I like the comments. Part of what is interesting about this is that it's an interactive art form. It's an interactive medium that we have with the audience, and we've held very true. We're still clocking around 3,000 viewers, a little bit less right now, but it's been very consistent. We're at 15,000 total views almost. That's great. So this is a law eternal. Non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. And this is what was so synchronistic, you guys. I couldn't believe it. It's like, okay, my mom is reading me out of the Dhammapada, and then I'm like, let's do a show on the positive and let's quote from the Dhammapada. And then synchronistically, if you want to call it that, it talks about storms throwing down trees, which is why we lost power and why there's 2 down trees in my frickin' driveway right now, one of which smashed the railings. So it was really interesting that this happened. Just as a storm throws down a weak tree, so does Mara overpower the man who lives for the pursuit of pleasures. This is like the equivalent of karma, I guess. Who is uncontrolled in his senses, immoderate in eating, indolent, and dissipated. So yes, if you don't focus on the positive, you can be overpowered by the negative. This is very important. Just as a storm cannot prevail against a rocky mountain, and how interesting that I live in the Rocky Mountains. Once again, synchronicity is abounding here. We're back up to 3,000 again, so nobody really left. So Mara can never overpower the man who lives meditating on the impurities, who is controlled in his senses, moderate in eating, and filled with faith and earnest effort. And believe me, I've been moderate in eating, controlled in my senses, and I definitely am making an earnest effort as much as I can. So this is really beautiful stuff. You know, the teachings resonate throughout the centuries. And, you know, people who like phenomenology and they always want to have new information, they get mad that, oh, David hasn't said anything new. He already talked about the meditation effect before. Well, I expand on things. We gave you some new quotes. I gave you the new stuff from the Dhammapada that I haven't personally quoted from before. And again, these are universal principles. It's not like the goal is not to find something new. The goal is to know the truth and use it and work with it for your own benefit. And here's another donation. George Rogers, since your first radio days, I've been here absorbing and deploying. Have you heard about Kim Gogan at UNN, Golden Age AI? No, I haven't. Okay, so anyway, thank you for that. Thank you for the donation. Really appreciate it. So here's another thing that really ties in very beautifully with these Buddha quotes. The Institute of Heart Math's Coherence Study, as I talked about before, they actually started to find people in apartment buildings, and they discovered that you can study the heart rate and the brain waves of people who live next to each other, and they may not know each other. They may have never met before, but their heart rate and their brain waves will actually go into coherence. And what's weirdest about this is that the people who have the greatest coherence, the people where the wave itself has the nicest smooth curve, that coherence, which comes through meditation, comes through being loving and positive, that's what radiates out and affects everybody else the most. So that the brain waves are cohering, the heart rates are cohering, it's the highest frequency. That's the one that actually wins, which is really freaking interesting. Really freaking interesting. Charlie Winter donated $22. If this information is true, then there is no need for war. For if it occurs, we are giving in to fear. This level of understanding our effect on reality requires responsible thinking. Think peace, and thank you for sharing. Thank you, Charlie. We really appreciate the donation. Let's see what we're up to here. Have we gotten to... Oh, we're at $2,400 already, total revenue. I don't know what it shows on you guys' side, but that's really great. So we matched our record from last week. Let's see if we can beat the record, okay? If anybody else wants to donate, we're still going to go for probably another half hour or so, maybe not quite. But there's some more things I want to talk about. So anyway, because I promised them in the write-up for this. You know, so thank you again for the donation. Really, really great. Davy Joe Weaver says, comments, indeed we are family, and you, David, are daddy. Thanks, Pops. Well, you know, the father archetype, is a very good one to have, and I'm glad that I can help anchor it in. Oh, so David thinks that all he has to do is focus on the positive, and then suddenly all this bad stuff just magically goes away, son. Look, you can't hum away how crazy you are, the way that you treated your brother, the way that you sassed off against your mother. You think you can come here and look me in the eye and you have nothing but spite on your face. You think I'm just going to say, oh, well, yeah, my son is so positive. He just loves to focus on the positive. Son, you got to get it together. You can't be going out there telling people all this snake oil salesman bull, thinking that they're going to be somehow inspired by you. Oh, yeah, well, David Wilcock, woo, woo, woo. He says, I'm supposed to be so positive. I'm supposed to be so happy. And, oh, yeah, the storm is like ruining my house and trees are coming down. But, oh, yeah, I'm just going to bliss out and be in a state of it. Son, you get off your ass. You get out there. You start doing the stuff you're supposed to be doing. You can't sit around the house meditating, thinking that you can do, oh, I'm just going to be positive and no big deal. Nothing bad's ever going to happen to me. I'm just going to be so blissed out and so happy that, David, you could end up freezing to death, son. So get it together because I have had it. Yeah. All right. I made a great Angry Daddy shirt, and David didn't even comment on it. I don't know about that. Did I ever get a T-shirt? I never got one. Sorry about that. That character is an exaggeration of my father. That's right. You guys asked for some Angry Daddy. Everybody's laughing. Got tons and tons of laughter emojis as we see here. Look at all this stuff right here. And all these people, and there's so many of them here. We can show that one too. Anyway, we love Angry Daddy. Everybody laughs, and that's great. So, got to do something to keep you guys entertained. Once in a while, we got to bust out with some dear old Angry Daddy. We need Trama. Okay, well, we'll do a Trama as well. Oh, so you think that you can you're just going to be so positive that, oh yeah, you're going to do your little Mishka. You're going to go out there and you're going to be part of this whole thing. But you got to give everybody some love, and you got to try to tell them, oh yeah, we love you, baby. Mwah, 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 mwah. David, I'm not buying it. I'm your Trama. I changed my gender for you. I came out from a very deep closet, and I barged into your reality to be able to give you some more pointers and tips on how you can be ever more fully gender fluid than you ever were before. But what do? You listen to me. You're not listening to me, David. You just got to get out there and make a statement as Trama, because you have so much to give when you start identifying in a different way. Oh my goodness. Look at all these comments. You see, people love me, David. If you would just listen to me once in a while, you actually listen to your dear old Trama. You actually pay attention, which you don't like to do that, do you, David? You always seem to want to just do your own thing. And you think everything's it's not always going to be positive. Oh my goodness, I burned myself. Sometimes you got to do things differently. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to give you love. I'm here to bake cookies for you. I come to your house. I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to do all this cooking. I'm going to be a part of your life that you can't get rid of me. You can just set me up in the corner. I swear to God, I won't be that much of a stress on you, David. It's just something I want you to do for us. We got to work together. I'm an Italian grandmother from Yonkers, and I'm here for you. I'm here for you, so please use me. Use me. Let's get into a reciprocity here, David. You can use me. You and I work together. We play off of each other. I've got the Italian cooking. I've got all these great things for you. My gender has changed, and you can be a part of that with me. We work together, David. Let's work together as a team. And we can be so much more in love with one another. And then that's self-love, because this is really just a strange aspect of yourself. It's coming out on camera. Who the heck knows what the hell it is? But you got these funny I like these glasses. I mean, they're just beautiful. They really exemplify everything that I wanted to be for you, David. So thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you for letting me come out once in a while and talk to people. I like to talk. I like to be part of what you're doing. I want to be in your flow. And they're saying you need more your Trama. If you don't do your Trama often enough, then we have a problem, David. We need to talk about it. We need to sit down. We need to get together. We need to figure out why in the world do you not allow this part of yourself to come out? Please work with me, David. Work with me. Let's try to get some mano a mano or womano a mano. We can be together. Don't you like this? Don't you like doing this character once in a while? Of course you do. What's the problem? What? I can't smoke this anymore. You're making me run out of cigarettes, David. I'm getting all spit on them. It's crazy. Anyway, thank you so much, David. Thank you for letting me come out today. I'm so happy. Anyway, no, I'm not gay. Yes, I think it's funny to do Trama once in a while. There you go. Oh my God, the comments are just going nuts. We went right from one to the other. Through. Look at this. I mean, everybody is just going crazy. Wow. We had some donations to fly in too while I was doing this. We got to mop up now. So let's see. I friggin' love it. Vaca Paulo says, count me in on these 45 people. What else do we have here? God bless you, David, says Sigma Fort. Thank you for everything that you do. Focus on the positive, release negative love and light. 7 Geometric Thought Forms donated $2. Thank you very much. And he also sent me some sizzle stuff, which at the right time, we'll see if we can implement that. And Sunflower Life donated $333. Wow. Beloved David, thank you for your continued service to humanity. At this time, there are many who are choosing the ascension path, who did not incarnate initially doing so. Your excellent teachings, love, and wisdom is helping so many. Please keep going. You matter. All right. 7 Geometric Thought Forms then donated $5. Thank you very much. The glasses are so great. Yeah, I mean, look, this goes back to the principles of the Whose Line Is It Anyway, which is hosted, the best ones were hosted by Drew Carey, in my opinion. And they're not gay, but they act gay because they get the laughs. So that's what I'm doing. It's just a character, and you don't have to be all riled up about it. But again, you know, it's only the trolls that try to make a big deal out of this. Can you do the alien masked one? I don't want to do yet another one right now. I had a little bit of comic steam we had to get out there, but I love Trama. It's Father, Mother, God. Oh my God. Anyway, thanks, David. I've been depressed today. You just pulled me out of it. Love you so. Live and in light. Anita Constant just donated $20. Thank you very much. What are we up to now? We're up to $2,700 total of chat revenue. That is a new record. And I know Candace did one recently and got $2,800. She's got a lot more than we do. So wow, you guys, that's pretty amazing. Never seen that before. So I guess it pays. It pays to do some comedy. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But again, thank you very much. And I'm glad you guys like the comedy. Your Trama's here for you. I'm here for you. You got to use me. Work with me. Implement me as a system in your life. Oh, I love that stuff. I really do. It makes me happy. It makes me laugh. Superior job with Trama today, says Michael Doom. Laughter is very high vibration. Prince Royal, that's hilarious. Levity for the brevity. All right. Wow. I mean, like, mic drop moment. How do you go beyond that when you get that going? Well, now we got one more layer to go through here. So again, we were talking about the Institute of Heart Math study of coherence. You guys are still just, there's so much laughter coming in here. We got all these colorful things showing up. Pretty amazing. But anyway, Institute of Heart Math's coherence study shows that your heart rate and brain waves will cohere with the person who has the highest frequency in your apartment building. David, somebody says, I believe the trolls are in denial. They actually love it. That's true. I mean, it's the New York accent that makes it so priceless. Violet says, donate $50. Thank you, David. I was falling into a pit in the darkness of social media. I came in right as you talked about that addiction, just what I needed. Bless all the light workers and bless you. Sunflower Heart also donated $20, so this is awesome. It's so strange to me there are people on here trying to tell you what to do and what not to do. Trama is amazing. Trama has a New York accent. That's right. So does anybody remember laughter? Chris Harvey. So you got Trama and Angry Daddy back to back. It's been a good day for everybody. So again, how weird that, like, let's say you're in Trama's apartment building, right? And there she is. And if she's got the happiest state, if she's got this coherent brainwave pattern, coherent heart rate pattern, what they find out is, yeah, everybody else adheres to that. Everybody else synchronizes with what she's doing. And so that's, or she, he, whoever. The highest frequency wins. Another very interesting thing here is Nina Kalagina and her telekinetic experiments. This is the woman from Russia. You may know about her, where she has performed these acts of telekinesis. And if you haven't seen this before, go look up some of these videos. And this is a still from one of the ones you're going to see. It's public domain. It's been out there for a long time. Nothing really, but it's you know, similar to what you see on the show Stranger Things. And sometimes they combine that, you know, there's images from Stranger Things, that kind of thing. And she is actually moving her hands, as you can see here, and they have her do different things, moving objects around with the power of the mind and nothing else. It's really pretty amazing. And so in source field investigations, one of the things that I talk about is the research into the electromagnetic fields that were found around the objects that Nina was moving with her mind. And sure enough, the electromagnetic waves cohered to her heart rate, to her breathing pattern, to her neurological patterns, once again. So she's now projecting this energy that actually moves objects out of her mind, and that energy has her own life force in it. So this is a great example of how that life force can actually create telekinesis. It can actually move things. Oh, David, oy vey. Oy vey. It's so funny. The EU has lost its way and they are beating the drums of war. Oh, Tramor. Bring that up in a group. See if it starts an argument about who's going to have the highest frequency. That's a joke. That was Rocky Angel. You can't really cover the truth of the space program. You'll get in trouble or called crazy. It's best to know what you know and verify everything. So yeah, the point is, even the energy of telekinesis that was being demonstrated by Nina Kalagina, it all goes back to the same principle of, the living force, the living energy. Her own vital signs were showing up in the energy that moved those objects. And again, this relates to the Institute of Heart Math, coherence, all that kind of stuff. Power of positivity. Your positive power rests in kindness. So kindness is kind of a nice overarching word that you can double click on. Romy A donated 99 cents. Thank you very much. Everything helps. Hey, David, oy vey, it's Gertrude. You tram on Yonkers, says TK. Anyway, yes, so celebrating your third super chat. Thank you very much for that. Scarlet Fire says, your brain is the processor, but the heart is the editor and projector. Follow your heart and you will never regret your decisions. Thank you, Scarlet Fire. And thank you guys for doing such a great job today on moderation. All the moderators, we love you. Thank you guys for what you're doing. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful. David, even after our dark night of the high wind, you bring brightness. Hours of dark nights of the high wind, you bring brightness to an otherwise cold and dark Sunday, says Richard. Thank you very much. Stranger Things is based on Montauk Project and MK Ultra, apparently. Okay, I didn't know that because I've never actually seen it. Trama said she was looking for her khakis, so I helped her by going through her clothes until she finally pulled out her car keys. So you guys can get me, you can make requests of what you want me to say in character, and maybe I'll do it. Researcher, we heard you. Last one, sir, says Midnight Mark. That's right. You got to toe the line here. Linda Kiesling, the ladies at church called me a baby whisperer. I learned this with my 3 brothers and 2 sons. Okay. And how are we doing on likes? Let's see. 2,176 likes. Oh, come on. You got to love your Tramma, and you do that by hitting the like button. Could you please just try? Just would it kill you to hit the darn like button? I mean, come on, for God's sake, just push the frickin' button for your Tramma, and then everything's going to be fine. I promise you, it'll be fine. All right. So, we got more laughter icons coming in here. So anyway, good stuff. We're having fun here. We're making it more interesting by, doing some comedy for you. With my wild and crazy hair, let's make it even a little bit more fluffy. What the heck? I got nothing to lose, man. I've already hung it way over the edge here by what I just did. No big deal. So your positive power rests in kindness. This is an important point. If you can find a way to be peaceful in the midst of chaos, then you're following the teachings of the Buddha, where he says, just like it says in Law of One, all things are of the oneness. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. Think happy thoughts and happiness will follow you like your shadow unshakable. It's a really simple teaching, but now that we're learning the scientific validity of it, the power of the positive really makes sense, doesn't it? It makes a lot of sense. It's so interesting when you look at it this way and you find out, yeah, you know what? There's a lot to be grateful for in this universe. There's so much to be, to live through and to understand. Understanding is the realization of universal law. And in the Law of One, Session 419, they tell you to exercise the disciplines of understanding. We'll cover these disciplines in a later show. It's not going to be this one. But the point is that when we're going through chaos, this is actually just an illusion. All that we are arises with our thoughts. And so chaos is the result of collective dis-ease, collective disharmony. But I do believe very much that the universe is just. This is part of the law of karma, that you are only given what you can use for your own healing. You're not given more than you can use. Sometimes karma is necessary in order to offset personal imbalances that you might have. And so a very negative event that happens in your life may actually be restoring you to balance. And I could tell it was happening with me. The fact that I went through this crazy thing, like I did not, run away. I didn't act like a coward, and I didn't evacuate. I stayed here. I got in the flow. I did what I needed to do to get through the whole thing and to do it as peacefully as possible. And so, we're going to keep on working as hard as we can to just survive these things whenever they arise. Hopefully that's the last bad one of the year. I mean, every year we have some kind of bad thing that happens in the winter. It's just inevitable, but hopefully that'll be the worst kind of thing that goes down. But again, it may restore balance. Negative events can restore balance. Now, the Law of One talks about catalyst. The purpose of catalyst does promote your awakening. Catalyst is things that upset you, things that cause negativity. We had a donation from Jay Classer, who says, I'm not going to say the rest of that. Love you, Trama. Okay. Somebody was asking for my thoughts on the recent thing that happened at Bondi Beach. We did talk about that at the beginning. I mean, it's tragic that these things are happening. And yes, we still live in a world where these things take place. And I think, again, the objective is to try to remain as positive as possible and not let yourself go into depression. Again, an event like that can trigger people to become more positive. This is what the Law of One actually said, that before the veiling, when there was no evil, there was no negativity, everybody was unmotivated. So we can't bring back those who are lost in these tragic events, and there are many tragic events. People die all the time. But if you can use that as an inspiration to help you become more loving and peaceful, then that's the design of the universe. That's using the universe as catalyst for its intended purpose. And that's what we're hoping. So we're hoping everybody can do that. We're up to $2,800 of chat revenue now. That's incredible. It's never happened before. This is the best show we've ever had in terms of donations. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And so, you can balance out some of your own negativity by doing things that are good and being able to, give and be supportive and be of service to others. So if you do integrate your catalyst properly, then the negativity will actually stop in your life. And the Law of One says that, catalyst will repeat until it's no longer necessary. And it's necessary if it causes you to be upset. So the whole point is try to learn not to be upset by these bad things that would happen to you. Normally you'd think of them as bad. It's the same thing Buddha was teaching the Dhammapada. Try to focus on the power of the positive. And again, don't give in to the World War III stuff. I mean, there will probably be some degree of things that happen. Or don't give in to the idea, oh my God, this probe is coming and it's going to, be worse than 2001. No, I wouldn't encourage that. I would encourage you instead to focus on the positive. Because again, if we do this as a planet, then we get a lot less negativity. If we indulge in selfishness, narcissism, all these kinds of negative things, then we're telling the universe we need more pain, we need more anger, we need more fear, we need more negativity, and then that will be delivered to us. So instead of doing that, if a negative event, this is so important, okay? When you integrate the catalyst, the negativity will stop. It will no longer be useful to you because, again, the Law of One teaching is that catalyst repeats until it's no longer useful. How do you define useful? It's useful if it upsets you and deviates you from positive, loving, unity consciousness. That's a very, very curious thing, isn't it? If it deviates you from positive, loving, unity consciousness, it's considered to be useful. Wow. So instead of looking at it as being a negative, when you are faced with something that challenging, you can look at it as a positive. Look at it as a positive. And now the negativity will actually go away. And so when something negative is happening to you, you want to actually bless the restoration of balance in your life. Recognize, because that's one of the classic things that happened with Buddha. Somebody slaps him across the face. It's like, whoa. And everybody was kind of shocked that happened. And instead of getting mad, he said, thank you for balancing the karma between us. That's a true story. It's a true classic Buddha story that somebody slaps him. And, trolls here, let's thank you for blessing me with your hatred. Thank you for balancing the karma between us. Sometime long ago, Maybe I exposed myself to you in another lifetime when we were in the street. And now... I wouldn't do that now. I just want to be clear. I wouldn't do that. Oh, my God. No, I never would do that. Anyway, the leaders of the DS are telling their followers do anything they want right now, cause as much pain as possible. Yeah, I mean, look, this is the game. This is the rules. They need that. Negative forces need the loosh. They need you to be upset. They need you to be in pain. They don't want the awakening to go forward. They don't want you to learn the background energy of the universe is running on this stuff. But it is. It really is. You acknowledge the completeness within yourself. This is such an important point. Recognize that karma restores you back to completeness, and therefore it's not a bad thing ultimately. And you're learning that the Logos, Christ, is the maker of the universe, whatever you choose to call it. You know, that there is a higher power. And you can align your thoughts with that with a prayerful, thankful attitude. This will give you incredible benefits. I guess I spelled incredible wrong. I was working really fast there. So I don't believe that negative events or catalysts are random. They're usually actually programmed. But at the same time, like I said, it's very intense and disruptive. Either way, the universe is hardwired for the positive. So let's end out today's show by giving you some reminders of this, about life forms and how they heal their own DNA. I've talked about this before, but this is something that I promised you when we were opening up the show. We got just a couple minutes left to do it, so we will talk about this now. And Barbara Kelly says, so glad to see you today. She donated $20, so this is great. So Dr. Robert Pruitt talked about this from the concept of the mustard weed. It's self-correcting, actually. There he is. In a startling discovery, geneticists at Purdue University say they found plants possessing a corrected version of a defective gene inherited from both their parents, as if there was a handy backup copy where the right version was found in the grandparents' generation or earlier. The finding implies that some organisms may contain a cryptic backup copy of their genome that bypasses usual mechanisms of heredity. If confirmed, it would represent an unprecedented exception to laws of inheritance discovered by Gregor Mendel in the 19th century. Equally surprising, the cryptic genome appears not to be made of DNA, standard hereditary material. So what is this actually saying? This is saying that plants are healing their own DNA. And they actually, mustard weed is programmed to no longer have the DNA to make itself look right, and it gets fixed anyway. This has also been done by Dr. Elliot Meyerowitz, and he said it looks like a marvelous discovery, a plant geneticist with California Institute, Caltech. Dr. David Haig, an evolutionary biologist at Harvard, described the finding as a really strange, unexpected result. It would be important if it holds up and applies widely in nature. So here's Dr. David Haig. So let's go into the details now. What are they talking about? Dr. Pruitt and Dr. Lowell were trying to understand the genes that control the plant's outer skin or cuticle. As part of the project, they were studying plants with a mutated gene that made the plant's petals and other floral organs clump together. Because each of the plant's 2 copies of the gene were in mutated form, they had virtually no chance of having normal offspring. But up to 10% of the plant's offspring kept reverting back to normal. So the DNA is gone, the DNA doesn't exist, and the plant is all mutated and looks all weird, but then it heals itself anyway? Yes. This is the power of the universe. This is the power of the positive. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is locked up in a certain way. When the researchers analyzed the mutated gene known as hothead or HTH, they found it had changed, and mutated DNA units had changed back into normal frickin' form. Wow. So this is the mutated version of the mustard weed, which again, so many things have been made from mustard, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, broccolini. Lots of different vegetables that we know and love are all, using this very similar DNA with just subtle modifications. You can take the DNA out that, and cause this crazy mutation, but up to 10% of them, they then revert back to the way that they should be. And so they say this finding poses a puzzle for evolutionary theory because it corrects mutations, which evolution depends upon as generators of novelty. So there you go. we also possess this same self-healing quality. This is not just something that happens out of nowhere. A flasher daddy. Yes, I probably flashed some of these trolls in another lifetime. Cruciferous vegetables like the Christ, Midnight Mark. Yeah, good point. Wow, I love all this information. Yeah, so I think that's, we don't have to go through all of them right now. Maybe we'll go through one more. But so this was from the scientist. Mendel upended how the behavior of an Arabidopsis gene could overturn the classical laws of genetics. She found out a mutant Arabidopsis plant could fix itself. So think about the fact that this is actually happening in the universe, that this is actually happening in biology. It's really quite interesting. Same thing happens with the Drosophila fruit fly. After 5 generations, it will restore missing eyes. You can change the DNA, take out the DNA that makes eyes. They did this deliberately. They created deliberate mutations. And this is tuning mutations formerly called homoeotic mutations. I can't imagine why they had to change that name. Homoeotic. That doesn't sound like anything else, does it? Tramon would love that. The animal most used in the investigations is Drosophila, the fruit fly. A whole range of these mutations have been found, producing monstrosities. Antennapedia leads to antenna being transformed into legs. They produce legs instead of antenna out of their heads. Another mutation has the second of 3 pairs of legs into antenna. Normal flies have 1 pair of wings. The segment behind the wings, small bouncing organs called halteres. Still another mutation leads to transformation of the segment normally bearing halteres into a duplicate of the first. So these flies have 4 wings instead of 2, called bithorax mutants. So this is the most frequently studied insect in science. You take a single fertilized cell, forming the embryo. You remove all the DNA that makes the eyes. And the fruit fly is then born without eyes. But you breed it with other fruit flies who also have no eyes. No matter how many times they do this or what they do, after no more than 5 generations, the eyes are automatically replaced, and it never takes more than 5 generations, or all these other mutations we were just talking about. Same thing. Nothing you do to the Drosophila can change it, and it's studied in labs because, again, just like the mustard weed, it's one of the simplest organisms available for the laboratory researcher. And yet, it changes. So if you're focused on the negative, if you think that, oh my gosh, nothing's ever going to change. This goes back into mind-body studies, the placebo effect. Why do these things actually work? Again, the power of the positive is that powerful. You can heal and change your own DNA. This is phenomenal research. It really actually demonstrates this. All of these mutations depend on single genes. I propose that somehow these single gene mutations are changing the tuning of part of the embryonic tissue so it tunes into a different morphic field. This is Sheldrake than it normally does, Rupert Sheldrake. A different set of structures arise, just like tuning into a different channel on television. That's right. So look at the eyes again. Your thoughts and your spoken word literally rewrite your genetics. So this is very, very powerful stuff. Very, very powerful medicine, and there are other examples which we'll go through in future shows, but that's good enough right now. We got 2 of them. So let me just do this real quick. Let me just see what else we got here. All right, hang on a second, everybody. Let me just see what else we got. So yes, I do believe that this power exists within you, and therefore the power of the positive cannot be undermined. Why do certain people heal from these mysterious problems that medical science has written them off? How do these miracle healings occur? It comes through the power of the positive. Donald Barker donated, said, this is so true. I do appreciate honor, glory, and power. Honor is what we think, glory is what we speak, and power is the result of our words. All right. And I'm grateful that you are able to say that. So, anyway, the power of sound frequency on DNA. That's right. What has to be digested the most is paraglider life is that thoughts are the real energy that one works with and is the only energy that exists that changes matter energy. I'm going to help some people soon. It feels good, says Nish Paquette. Just the anticipation of helping. That's right. I interviewed Rupert Sheldrake once, classic interview. I did. Yeah, we had a really interesting, far-reaching discussion. So the positive focuses on creating value in life for others. That's really what we're doing. And so service to others, right? The law of one says the positive path is service to others. What does that really mean? Service to others is about creating value, just like I'm doing here. I mean, I could have said, you know what? I don't want to do a show. I'm too tired. I've been overwhelmed. I actually told my friend, I'm like, dude, I don't know if this is going to be a good show. I don't know if this week's show is going to be good or not. It's kind of I've talked about this stuff before. I've talked about this science before. I don't know how it's going to resonate with the audience. No, it actually ended up coming out very well. Did you guys like the show? Let's just hear in the comments. Do you think this was a good show? Well, certainly, I mean, what are we up to? $2,800 in donations. Let's see if we can get it up a little higher. Anybody still hasn't donated and wants to do? I'm just joking. But if you want to, that's fine. That'd be great. Oh, my God. We had a troll come through there. Midnight Mark, you can knock that one. Somebody, there we go. Boom, he did it. I knew he would do it. We love to see you. Yes, yes. Everybody said it was a very good show. Heck yeah. See, I never know how many slides I'm going to get through, so I built a whole lot more than what we used. You guys say, yes, more. I want more. Well, we can only go for about 3.5 hours. That's supposed to be a good cutoff point for us. And so we got 8 minutes left. This info is very timely, excellent. Yes, yes. Everybody is very, very happy. So the positive is service to others about creating value in life for others. And we also have guardian angels. So these positive ETs do exist. They're in all major religions. Buddha had contact. Jesus had contact with angels. This is all because one infinite creator manifested existence, multiple dimensional levels. This is not a question for these positive ETs. It's a fact. They already know the universal law. They want you to follow it. The battle for your soul is allowed to play out on Earth. Both sides have the right to present their viewpoints, and the rules allow you to be pitched by both sides. If you focus on the negative, then you will have more negativity in your life, just like Buddha said. If you focus on the positive, you'll have more positive in your life. And happiness will follow you as your shadow unshakable. Your future is determined by your own free will. That's the law of the universe. Oh my gosh. R.W. Phoenix donated $222. Bumping us over the $3,000 mark. Here you go. Love your show. Namaste. Wow. Thank you very much. I guess it was a great show after all. And now, yep, it says it's over 3K. So that's incredible, you guys. You're giving me some money to survive with. I really appreciate that. And I got to practice the positive in my own life. There's a great need for our deals to go through. And let's all just intend very positive energy around that we're going to get the deal. We're going to get this to work. There's some couple things happening right now that are very positive. Nice one, David. Your brain looks massive today, says Robert. Okay, fine. You got to get those planes. Remember that. Always, David, always. Anybody who didn't like this show is a negative Nancy. Well, I'm really glad at how it turned out, and we kept a good structure. We kept a good focus. And, next week I'll come up with a different topic, and I'll make that as good as I can. We'll keep on bringing you the best that we have to offer. So thank you very much. Let's start our global peace meditation so that we can get done within the right time frame. So here we go. Let's go for this. So I'm going to start here on the close-up shot. All right, so let's close your eyes. Put both feet flat on the floor. Take a nice deep breath now. Pramil, thank you for the donation. Let yourself feel at peace. Feel the flow of the positive energy of the universe as it moves through you now. Letting yourself breathe naturally and effortlessly. Breathing in to the glory of the tapestry of an infinite universe that is hardwired at the most fundamental level for love, for peace, tranquility, and contentment. Feel this universal power of creativity and service and love surging through you, healing DNA, healing your cells, lifting you up like never before, dissipating the strength of severe negative weather patterns, using this meditation effect, feeling all those areas of conflict in the world, resolving, the stress alleviating, seeing how it all becomes whole and new like never before. We are so grateful for all these positive gifts that the universe gives us, the hard wiring of universal energy. And if any ads come up during this time, you just do not lose focus, but just hit skip and stay right in the flow with me now. We thank you, Father, Mother, God, for the glories of what you've shared with us, for the gift of our lives, the gift of positivity, the gift of the radiance that you have to give us when we understand that the field effects of the universe itself are built to harness the positive, to feel that flow moving through our bodies, to feel that flow moving through our lives, knowing that we are always in a place of pure consciousness, and that from that place we are actually healing the world, healing the free will of others who might want to do harm, helping them become more peaceful and positive themselves. We are so grateful for what you have shared with us, universe, for your positive teachings, your wisdom, your knowledge, your understandings. Dear Creator, we accept you, we love you, we love what you have done for us, we love what you have shared with us. We are so grateful for your design, your cosmic wisdom, the understandings that we are not alone. We thank you for the time that you have given us to be alive in this world, to share what we need to know with each other in a format like this, with 3,000 people watching live through almost the entire 3.5-hour show. It's incredible. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. Sending this healing energy of positivity and love to all those in need of prayer and healing in the world. Feeling that consciousness rising within us. Feeling the stillness, the resplendent glory that casts aside the negativity that seems so overwhelming, that revivifies us with the loving consciousness that has been scientifically proven. As we meditate, as we focus on this love, this positivity, this purity, we send out healing waves to others, and we renew the everlasting covenant with the divine. As I do these things, so shall you do them, and greater things, for I go unto my Father, Mother, God. And so it is. Amen. All right. Now let's come on back into the room. It's so great. Thank you guys for being here. Wasn't this fun? We had a great time. People said they were very far out. No cigarettes, ham, fireworks, and bacon, the horror. Yeah, we didn't quite get into that one today, but anyway, let's see here. We got some donations came in. We had Pramila Kalaga, and we had D1061. You're keeping up the light for many of us. Keep up the great work. Jay Classer donated $10. Thank you very much. I love the folks donating, says Marna Eric. Thank you very much. What's new from the Alliance? Well, I think we're going to see a lot of things happening. And I think these scare events are vectoring in. So, disclosure is vectoring in. Disclosure opens up all kinds of interesting things. Shalom, shalom. Happy Hanukkah tonight, says David Savage. Absolutely. Midnight Marks is standing by for next Sunday. Yep, I'm going to have to find a way to get that out because, we're going into another big, crazy week of wind. but it shouldn't be as bad as the last one. I'll check on the forecast again. We'll see how it's going. But anyway, you guys are incredible. I'm so happy that we were here today. So happy we were able to share some time with each other. And it ended up being a great show. I mean, I don't know how I do it. You know, if I'd gone through some of the later slides, they weren't quite as good. But, you know, we focused on the stuff that really matters. I just never know how long it's going to take to get through this. I want to always be over-prepared. But I focused on composition, and it ended up being great. We ended up having a great show. Tommy Daydream says, thank you, David. Jackie Baby, thank you, David. Great show today. Already looking forward to next week. That is awesome. I wished upon a star Thursday night and came true, says Skybird. God, please be with us, protect us, guide us, allow us to live life in love and truth with each other to make this world a better place. Thank you, God. They're rolling in right now. The comments are literally rolling in. And Valerie Ann Gritto says, email sent, great meditation. Oh, thank you. Stay strong and safer. Thank you very much for the donation. Thank you, David, says Johnny J2B, for all your time, effort, and energy, brother. Go Stavati. Yes. Stavati is on the verge of some very big things, and I hope that they hit because I really need them to. And if not, then, you know, there's not a whole lot of other options. So we really need these things to work. So please, again, pray for the health of my company, for Stavati. We have some very good things happening, and I think they will. And I'm intending that right now. You know, the Schrodinger's cat, right? It's a cruel metaphor, but the cat is alive, man. The cat is alive. And I really hope that's the case. So spectacular content, David. Thank you, says M. Repic. I really appreciate your meditation, says Donald Barker. Love from Greece, says Eugenia Aplaki. Awesome show, says Awakened Light Warrior. I pray for corporations, a lot of them, says Fernambulax. Stellar show, David. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Christopher F. Thank you, David. Love and light from New Zealand. Ask the Lord to fill you with light so you may lead others through the darkness. Absolutely. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, David, for all you prepare and share from Marine in Ireland. I've been following you for years and years. MK Lotus says, great show. And thank you guys so much. So anyway, we're good here. We will see you on the next show, hopefully next Sunday, as long as I don't get waylaid by the wind. Thank you guys so much. And we will catch you on the next pass. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.